Welcome to the Lights Lounge, your weekly home for all things Las Vegas Lights FC. We'll be here every single week in 2025 on Tuesday afternoons. You can join us for a deeper dive into everything that happens on the pitch, including match previews and analysis, alongside a different special guest every single week. Coming up, the Lights are back at Cashman Field for a home match against Orange County SC this Saturday at Cashman Field, 7:30 p.m. Alongside me today to analyze last week's match in Oakland and preview this week's match against Orange County. And we'll talk a little bit about a return to the club where it all started for him. I have your forward, Johnny Rodriguez. Johnny, welcome to the Lights Lounge.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let's cut straight to the chase. I think the big talking point with you is the shock transfer.
Yeah.
So you played for the Roots for the first 5 professional seasons of your professional career, and then out of nowhere, seemingly, you're off to the Lights.
Right.
Where were you when you found out about the transfer for the first time?
So we were doing our preseason in Mexico. So we had just arrived maybe like 2-3 days before the whole thing happened. But we had just finished our preseason game, and then we were kind of free for the whole evening. So me and a couple buddies, we went down to like the little downtown area in Mexico, and then I get a message saying was I at the hotel, and I said I'm currently not at the hotel, but I'll let you know once I'm back. So then I'm back, and basically I let them know that I'm back, and then we meet in the lobby, and then that's kind of where everything kind of took place in terms of like letting me know that a deal has been done, and then I'm headed to Vegas. And then when I heard that, I was kind of shocked because obviously like it's a big change, not just for me on the field but off the field as well. But I was shocked, and then immediately after that, I went up to my room and I just kind of took it all in, and I was like, "Is this really happening? Am I really being dealt off like this?" And then I called my agent, kind of let him know about what was going on, and then maybe like within 2 hours, I get a call from Gian. And then he kind of tells me everything that's going on, how it played out and everything. And I really appreciated the call from him because obviously like hearing where this club was at in terms of wanting me as a player kind of made me feel like I was wanted, and I'm going somewhere where I'm really, really wanted, which is always good. But yeah, having that call really, kind of, I guess, it kind of made the things a little more calming, if that makes sense. And then within that call, within 40 minutes, I get a call from Antonio. Oh, nice. So that's always good to hear from those guys immediately kind of after the sudden news. Because there's so much uncertainty, right? I mean, you've been in the same place for 5 years. You actually hadn't played professional soccer anywhere else. So all of a sudden, what felt really settled is now really uncertain. So having those calls helps with that kind of thing. And like I said, just having those calls and them making me feel like I was going somewhere where I'm really, really wanted, it kind of makes the whole news kind of better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and Las Vegas not that far from California, which is where your family's from as well. So it's not like getting transferred to the Eastern Conference out of the country. And that is a lot different.
Once I heard that I was being dealt, I didn't really know where yet. But then things just started falling together, and I kind of got the message of where I was going. And like you said, it could have been the Eastern Conference, where it's 5-hour flight from home. Where now I'm just like a 50-minute flight home. So it could have been worse, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm very excited about this year.
Yeah, so now you're sort of more settled in at this point. You've scored a brace in preseason, you've scored your first goal in a Lights shirt. Now looking back on that process and having settled in with the group of guys and the coaching staff and the environment here in Vegas, how does it feel to be a part of this Lights team right now?
I mean, it feels good. I think we have a really good group, from the coaching staff to the last player in the locker room. But I think we have a very, very great group. My first training session here, I knew it was going to be kind of intense because we had a meeting the morning of, prior to the training session, and Antonio kind of gave a rundown of what the training session would be like. I was like, okay, it seems kind of chill, but then we got to the field and it was like very, very, on point. So then I kind of got a hint of what it was going to be like. But no, I think the players are very, very a very good group, and I think that the sky's the limit on what we can do. I mean, we have a very good head coach on what he wants to implement on us, and I think I'm just very excited to get going. I mean, we're 3 games in, but it's a long season. So
that's an interesting anecdote on Antonio as well, because that does tend to be how he is. When he's not on the field, he's actually a pretty relaxed guy, jokes around, really approachable. But as soon as you cross those white lines, it's a different Antonio Nocerino.
100%. Some of my boys that played with him or played for him in Miami kind of reached out and told me, "Yo, this guy's kind of a soccer guru," So I was like, okay, what am I, let's see what it's going to be like. But off the field, I mean, amazing guy, very different than what he is between those white lines. So, I mean, but I like it. I like when a coach is very, loves what he does. So I think he loves what he does, and he trusts us and he believes in us. So I think it'll be fun.
It's partially what you have to do as a player too, right? I mean, like we're sitting here having a relaxed conversation, but then when it's go time and the first whistle blows, you sort of have to unlock a different part of your mentality and a different level of intensity. So, and that's what Antonio, I think, is all about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about then, obviously the big talking point from there is that you leave Oakland, you go to Vegas, and you have to pretty soon see, oh wow, like Vegas plays Oakland really early in the season in Oakland.
For sure.
So now that game's in the past. What was that experience like going back to Oakland so quickly after the big transfer?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, once I found out I was coming to Vegas, I kind of looked at the schedule and saying, okay, when are we going to Oakland? That was like one of the first things I did. But no, I mean, going back to Oakland, it was kind of, it felt very excited to go back just because I have a lot of friends and family that are nearby that can drive to the game. But no, very excited, and I was very, lucky enough to have played in the game and got to experience what that was like, being on the opposite side of the fans this time. But no, I think it was a very, very good game. I mean, we walked out of there with a point, which is always good to go into an away pitch and get a point. But no, I mean, it was fun because obviously family, friends are there supporting, seeing a lot of good friends from the opposing side as well. So it's always fun just to kind of battle with them, because throughout the years it's always been teammates, and now we're on the other opposite side. So it's kind of good to go to battle with them. They kind of know what I like to do on the field, and I kind of know what they like to do. So it's fun.
Nice. And then playing in the Coliseum, because Oakland moved there this offseason, so you didn't get a chance to play there when you were a Roots player. What was it like playing in such a historic stadium?
It was pretty insane experience, to be honest, because obviously when they got announced, I was lucky enough to be one of the guys that was there, to kind of see the whole unveiling of it. So it was good to see it kind of in a soccer pitch now, not just a baseball kind of converting to soccer field. Now it's a complete soccer field, so it was good. I mean, when I walked out of the locker room and onto the stadium, I kind of took a deep breath, wow, this is huge. This is a lot of good sports memories for a lot of people there. So it's always good to play in a stadium like that.
And let's talk about the game itself. So team comes out in what's become a pretty standard 3-5-1 or however you want to call it, but a 3-back system, and then a pretty aggressive halftime substitution. 2 substitutions from head coach Antonio Nocerino shifts you guys into a different looking formation where you have more wingers instead of inside forwards. What's it like for you playing in those 2 different systems? Do you feel something different, better service, or anything along those lines?
For me, kind of, I mean, on either of those systems, we kind of still stay with the lone striker. So I'm still kind of, not alone, but I'm still kind of having to occupy the 2 center backs. So, with that change at halftime, I think it helped the group. We kind of got on the ball more, created more chances. We kind of stalled their opportunities. I mean, besides that one offsides chance that they had, they really didn't have much in the second half. But I think that just goes back to Antonio being Antonio. I mean, he kind of, sees the game in a different view than we do. And he knows that we're capable of playing a 3-back, 5-back, a 4-back. So he kind of trusts us, and he, it was kind of a bold move because, it was still 0-0 at the half. And I mean, it worked out. Just, we weren't able to put the ball in the back of the net like, we obviously want to do. But no, I think there was a lot of positive points on the second half, and I think, just moving forward, I think is something that we're going to continue to grow off of.
Yeah, absolutely. I had Val was in your chair last week and was talking a lot about how when you're building through preseason, the first thing you do is put that defensive base in place.
For sure.
Try not to concede goals. But now, we've seen that formational shift happened in New Mexico as well. Later in the game, it leads to your first goal where Val assists you. And so both times it seemed to sort of unlock that offensive potential that I'm sure you guys are working on in the training ground and trying to continue to improve.
No, and I mean, like Antonio said, a lot of the guys were here last year, and that's kind of what they're accustomed to playing is a 4-back system.
Yep.
And I mean, credit to them. They know the system. They're very comfortable with it. And like you said, I think it's always good to have like a very like underneath number 10 to kind of provide service or, I guess, natural wingers to kind of go at players one-on-one. And I think that's where we have very good advantages is out wide and our number 10. I think going forward we have a really, really good group. So I think obviously unlocking those guys is always good.
Yeah, and those two positions, I think a lot of depth in this team as well, between Edison Escona and Val for the number 10 role, guys like Joe Jal, Von Koval, all sorts of guys that can play in those wings to slash inside forward positions.
I mean, and getting Eddie back too now is going to be a very good, he's a good piece in our puzzle. So.
Yeah, you want the situation where you're having, if you are only going to play with one number 10 in the field, we've either got to play Val deeper and Eddie can play, or Eddie has to sit on the bench to start. Like, those are problems that for Antonio, he wants to have those problems.
100%,
Let's shift the focus a little bit to Orange County coming up as you guys are training and starting to take a look at the film. Anything particular you're expecting out of that game?
I mean, just given on what Orange County is as a kind of history about them, they're always good defensively. They play a 4-back system. And I mean, they're really good defensively, especially on the road. They really rarely concede goals. But I think, going into this week, obviously knowing what we did in Oakland, it's a good starting point. We didn't concede a goal, which is good. So now I think we're kind of focused on the offensive side of the ball and seeing how we can unlock Orange County a bit. And I know they have some players that played here last year, so it's always good for the locker room just to kind of battle with them too. But no, I think there's a good space in where we can kind of attack Orange County in. And obviously going through the week where we'll like kind of unlock more pieces where we can kind of hurt them in transition or on the ball or off the ball. So I think it's going to be a fun matchup, especially because Orange County is Orange County. Always in the playoffs, always competing, always being a tough group to play against. So I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, and that's the flip. That's the important thing too, is the level of importance you have to place on these Western Conference games. When you're playing someone like Tampa Bay, okay, if you drop points or lose, then it doesn't hurt you as much because Tampa Bay is gaining points, but just in the Eastern Conference. Whereas, let's say theoretically, we're to beat Orange County, that's 3 points that we get, but also 3 points that Orange County taking away from the max number of points. So that, and especially for a team like Orange County, that's always going to be up and around the playoffs. It's always going to be a team that you're going to head-to-head with for those playoff spots. So. Okay, let's go to Johnny's story. So let's take it all the way back to the beginning. We were talking off camera before. It's not Madera, California, where you're from, despite it being listed like that everywhere. So let's put it on the record now. We'll correct it now. It's Fresno, California. What was your childhood like growing up in Fresno?
Oh man, childhood was amazing. Obviously, I have a lot of cousins, so I was very lucky to have cousins my age, and obviously, like, I got into soccer just by basically playing with my cousins. I mean, my parents would always have soccer in the background, I guess, and I would always kind of just get stuck to it. But a fun fact about me is that I always wanted to play goalkeeper. I always wanted to play goalkeeper. I always wanted to like make an insane save. It looks cool, and you can kind of be the hero. Sometimes. So yeah, that's what I kind of like wanted to be growing up, and then I kind of just saw like. People are scoring goals and celebrating. That's something that I kind of want to do. And then ever since then, I just kind of started scoring goals, and then lucky enough, it's brought me all the way here. Yeah.
What youth club were you playing for at the time? What was your youth experience?
Yeah, so I mean, Fresno at the time was very, very soccer was almost non-existent at the time. So we didn't really have any U teams, but we did have some U teams, but nothing too I guess, too big in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
I was just kind of playing for like local team. So I was just going in around like just the local teams, kind of just play, just to get more comfortable with the ball, with the sport. My parents obviously wanted me to play some sports just because it keeps me busy, keeps me away from all the other crazy things in life. But yeah, I mean, I played for Alacranes, I played for Fresno, Brazil, I played for Alliance, I played for Malibu. I played for a lot of like local teams that gave me a chance to play in. And obviously throughout the years, I kind of learned a lot. Obviously, growing up from like very, very youth to like high school, I was lucky enough to play on a lot of teams that kind of taught me different things. You know?
Were you playing high school soccer as
I did
well?
play soccer, so I played soccer all 4 years. It's funny because during my freshman year, my club coach had told me that like, oh, you can't play high school. So then I told my mom, she was like, huh? Like, what do you mean you can't play high school? Why can't you play high school? I was like, well, because my coach told me. He was like, okay, like, what does he have control? He doesn't have control of what you do like in school. So I was like, I mean, I don't know if I can. Like, I don't want to like get him upset and then it'll be a whole mess. She was like, no, you're gonna play. So I was like, dang, like tryouts already happened for high school. So now I'm like, I told her that. She was like, don't worry, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna talk to the coach. I said, please don't do that. Like, I'm a freshman. Like, I don't need to like, be the one to be like, oh, his mom came to like talk to the coach, this and this and that. So I was like, oh, please, like, if you do it, just do it like after school where like no one can kind of see you. So then I told her like, okay, Monday I'll go to speak to the coach. That way you don't have to show up. I'll do it. Like I'll do it after like before the soccer training starts. I'll do it to just see what he tells me, and I'll tell him like what why I didn't go to tryouts and everything. So then after school I'm walking towards the practice field, which was the stadium. So I'm walking to the stadium, and then I see my mom. I'm like, there's no way that my mom is here, right? There's no way. Lucky enough, I was like one of the first ones because again, I wanted to be one of the first ones. That way, like if he tells me like, oh, you can't play, it's okay. Like I'll just take it and leave. Nothing ever happened. So I'm going there, and then I see my mom. I'm like, there's no way. So I kind of like turn around, like I kind of like start walking away because I don't want to go and like make a whole thing. So I was like, okay, let me just let her finish, and then I'll come. So then, like, I'm like seeing from like a little distance. I'm like, okay, she's still here, and I see the guys coming. I'm like, oh man, like, come on, let's go. You got to wrap it up. So then the conversation ends. She's like walking towards her car, and she leaves. And then now I come, and then everybody's like, who is this guy? Why is he here? So then I go straight to the coach, and he was like, yeah, you can practice without me saying anything. He's like, yeah, you're good to practice. I said, okay, like, okay. So then I start practicing, and I know like maybe like one or two guys. So then I'm like hanging around with them. And then they can see that I can like kind of know how to play, So they're like, okay, like let's just kind of give him a chance. So then the coach luckily gave me a chance, and then, I mean, after that it's just kind of just history, I was lucky enough to play varsity all 4 years. We lost in a Valley, which is section championship, my sophomore year. Then we get back to it my junior year and we win it, and we lose like in the state finals.
Oh man.
So then it was amazing 4 years of soccer for me. I mean,
I wanted to call that out specifically because I played high school soccer as well, and then played college soccer. But I think it's a increasingly uncommon experience, not just for professional players, but even like college soccer players, because of the academy system now, and so many club teams like the one year freshman year were like, no, you can't play high school. And I think there's just obviously like playing in an MLS academy or a USL academy and having that level of development is really valuable, but there's something about the experience of high school soccer, of representing your community, playing with your friends that you go to class with every day. I mean, I wouldn't trade my 4 years of high school soccer for anything.
I mean, I'm so lucky. To this day, I still thank my mom for doing, what she did. I don't know what she told him, but like, I'm so happy that I was able to play. And like you said, nowadays people have like, a lot of young players have a lot more exposure, which is obviously so good. Like for example, I was talking to some of my teammates that are younger than me here, and I was telling them, "Did you guys play high school?" They're like, "No, we never played high school." I'm like, "Oh wow, like damn, like everybody's story is different, but like we all have a journey." And
I mean, I look back on my career and like my soccer career and I think about those high school soccer playoff games that were just like, you were like 15 years old, but like it was the most important thing in the world at the time.
I mean, I still get some, like on my Facebook memories, I still get like certain like, oh, this happened 8 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I posted this. It's like, what am I doing? But no, I mean, amazing 4 years. I loved everything about it. So
Yeah, amazing. A good segue there then, because you go off to Fresno City College,
Right.
which is a junior college in your hometown.
Yeah.
Maybe partially to do with that lack of exposure, the lack of
Yeah.
club soccer at the
Yeah.
time. Talk to me about the decision to go to Fresno City and
Yeah.
why you started your college soccer career there.
So during my senior year, I had our local Division II school called Fresno Pacific University, and they're still like a very big like known program in Division II soccer. So I wanted to play there, right, following high school, but something happened with my SAT scores that didn't allow me to get accepted into the school, which is like, it's a private school. It's a very difficult school to get into.
Yeah.
Let alone like anything else.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, like now what? Like now what? I don't know.
Yeah, there
like,
goes plan A.
yeah,
What was plan B?
What's next? So then I was like, okay, now what? I'm finishing high school. I'm about to graduate. I need to do something, right? So then I graduate, and then during the summer, I'm like, okay, like what am I gonna do? Is this it? Like, is this it? Like, am I done, or what's gonna happen now? And then an old club coach texted me like, hey, the junior college school here is like, they're asking about you, seeing what you're gonna do. And I told him like I would obviously I would like to continue playing.
Right.
So then he was like, okay, tryouts are coming up in 3 weeks. He would like to see you out there. And then I was like, okay, I'll be there. So then 3 weeks pass, and then I go to tryouts. I make the team, and then I make the team, and then we have our first preseason game up in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous. That was like my first college game, right? I'm so nervous. I guess the school we were playing had just made it to the Final Four in like junior college.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm kind of nervous. Like, what am I getting into?
Yeah.
And then obviously our school is really, they're kind of known for like their soccer as well. So then I'm lucky enough to start that game, and we end up winning maybe like, it was a blowout. It was like I can't even remember the score. It was a lot to like a little. It was like maybe like 7-2.
Oh,
right?
gosh.
And I scored 5 goals. I'm like, this is not happening. Like, there's no way this is happening. There's no way this is happening. So I end up scoring 5 goals, and then we're driving back, which is like a 5-hour drive, and I'm just thinking to myself like, this is really happening. Like, what?
Yeah.
But to this day, I still think that was like the biggest like blessing in my life, that I was able to get denied into my local Division II school, because I think that me personally, those 2 years at Fresno City College kind of changed my whole life, because I went there. The first year we lose in the state championship. Second year we win the state championship. So it was just like insane, and I was lucky enough to score 50 goals in the 2 years there. And then obviously that kind of attracts Division I coaches, like, what is this guy scoring 50 goals in 2 years? Like, who is this guy, right? So then that's where everything kind of took off.
Yeah, I was looking through these stats, and I was like, man, I wrote here on my outline, this guy scored goals for fun at Fresno City.
Yeah.
Like, you scored 5 goals in your opening game, but it was 24 games as a freshman, 20 goals officially, 24 games as a sophomore, 25 goals officially.
Yeah.
So your sophomore year, you were averaging more than a goal per game.
Yeah.
And it had it listed as only 1 penalty in those stats. Do you think that's accurate? Like, how many penalty kicks were you taking?
Honestly,
for Fresno?
Honestly, if I'm gonna keep it super honest with you, I might have took 2 penalties that year, and I scored one, and I know I missed one for sure. It was Halloween day. I remember that so good.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, so you've got 25 goals and a missed penalty in there. Could have been 26.
Yeah.
But so it's just like, it's not like there were 10 penalties in there. I mean, you were scoring like goals from the run of play and those types of things. So that's pretty incredible. Talk to me a little bit about, obviously, you go that first year, you guys only lose 1 game all year, but you fall in that state final. Yeah. It was a 0-0 draw, double OT.
Yes.
You lose in penalties to Mount San Antonio.
Yes.
And then the next year, you get it done with a 2-0 win over Taft. What was losing in that final like after so much winning that season, and then how much did it fuel that team the next year?
I mean, I think that first year, because that first year we had maybe maybe like 5 new guys. The rest were returners. So they kind of were already on their second year. They kind of already knew what the league was like, what the whole playoffs were like.
Yeah.
So they kind of like carried the load. You know, I was just, me and a couple guys were kind of just new.
And those JuCos is mostly like, guys are mostly on 2-year cycles,
right? Yeah,
so,
exactly. So 2 years and a new batch comes in.
Exactly.
So yeah, we end up losing in penalties to Mount San Antonio, which was an amazing game. I think we both had like a lot of good chances to score or whatever. No one scores, and we go to penalties, and then obviously in penalties anything can happen, right? It's like sometimes the better team wins, sometimes they don't. So we end up losing there.
Did you take a penalty?
I did take one.
Did you score?
I did score.
Okay,
yeah.
so at least you're blameless.
Yeah. So then that happens, and I was like, damn, we got this far. Like this is the last game, right?
Yeah.
This is it. Like we don't know if we're gonna be in this position again.
Yeah.
So then the second year comes, and we're now again same thing. A new batch comes in, maybe a little more this time, maybe like 8, 10 new guys, but we still have a lot of the new guys or like the old guys that were here during that loss. So then I kind of took the challenge upon myself, and I was like, okay, like, you know, last year the guys kind of like took me under the wing and like, you know, showed me what it takes to win. So then I kind of try to do the same for the new guys, and I kind of was trying to like have more of a leadership role.
Yeah.
So I was trying to do that.
That's a valuable position to be in as a sophomore.
Right.
Because you are, I mean, in that JuCo cycle, you are the elder statesman.
Right.
But if you'd gone to a 4-year school, you wouldn't have had that type of experience that early.
Right. So then we end up, you know, having a very good year again. We end up getting the #1 seed in the playoffs. Everything's through Fresno City. If you want to, you know, get to the Final Four, you got to get through Fresno.
Yeah.
So then we end up getting to the Final Four again, and then behold, in our first semifinal game, it's Mount San Antonio.
Oh man.
I'm like, oh gosh, like them again.
Yeah.
Now it's them again. So I was like, okay, like I started watching the game from last year. Like, what did they do that, you know, was hurting us? I'm like, okay. I started like nitpicking a little bit, like what they do that can hurt them. So then we get out of there with the, I think it's 2-1 result, I think, or 2-0 result.
Yeah.
Not sure what it was. But we ended up winning that game. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay, cool. And it felt like a final because they had just beaten us the year before. So I was like, okay, like
2-1 win.
2-1 win.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like that's over. Now what? So then Taft is in our conference. So we play them twice a year already. So I was like, okay, we don't want them to win because they're very like good defensively. We don't want them to win. You know, we drew twice. The 2 times we played during conference, we drew. So I was like, okay, I don't want to play them. I do not want to play them. Don't want to go to Pens again. Like, no. They end up winning, and at the time it was Friday, Sunday. So Friday was semis, and then Sunday was the final. So I was like, okay, Saturday, you know, we're gonna watch film on them, a lot of film.
Yeah.
And then I was also in the back of my mind was that penalty miss that I had earlier in the season. I was like, okay, like if another penalty comes up, I know what to do. Okay, I do this, right? So Sunday comes, and then Sunday everything kind of just worked out for us. Everything. I was lucky enough to have a left-footed goal in like very early in the game, and I was like, okay, finally we score on them. We were not able to score on them throughout the whole year, so I was like, okay, we unlocked them, right? Now they have to. Now in order to win the game, they kind of have to come at us.
This is the situation you want to be in.
Right, exactly.
Like that.
So then the score stays 1-0 for like the entire game, and now it's like later in the game, it's like 80th minute, and now they have to come out, right? Now they have to come out and attack, look for the goal, and then we were lucky enough to get them in a counter attack and 2-0. I'm like, okay,
incredible,
okay, there it is. Hopefully this is it, and then that was it, and then 2-0, and then after that it was just it felt so good, especially because the previous year, you know, like I said, you don't know if you're gonna get the opportunity again to play in a final again, and it was just so happened that we were lucky enough to play in it twice, in back-to-back years. So it was a blessing. Like I said, not being able to get into the Division II school, it was maybe the best thing that's ever happened to me in my career so far.
And nothing will boost your confidence as a striker than scoring 50 goals in 2
For
years.
sure, 100%. 100%.
But a great way to stamp your time at Fresno City with the title right there at the end. Now your 2-year cycle at the JuCo is over. You're looking at what your options are for your final 2 years of eligibility. You end up at Cal State Northridge, which is like just outside of LA. It's a D1 school. What was that recruiting process like? How did you end up at Cal State?
So I obviously, like, you know, given that I'm a striker and, you know, those those stats were kind of like coaches are like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to have a few coaches kind of reach out and seeing what I thought of their program or if I would like to come on a visit. And I did take a couple visits, but something about CSUN kind of just stood out. And obviously I knew one of my club teammates that was playing there at the time. He's like from a little city outside of Fresno, which is like 30 minutes, but like we kind of like played together growing up.
Yep.
And his name is Danny Trejo. He actually played here in Vegas.
Oh yeah.
So he was there, and then obviously during my visit, I told him like, hey, I'm gonna visit, CSUN. He was like, yeah, bro, you'll love it here. We can play together again. I was like, okay, like, and then I went on the visit, and I kind of liked the school. I liked the coach. I liked the players that were there. So it was kind of like a no-brainer to me, just so I can play with Danny again, because obviously like he plays the 10, I play the 9, so he can kind of like, I'll help him and he'll help me in a sense. So I was lucky enough to go there and then play 2 years, and obviously we didn't win as much as we'd like, but no, I think it was a very, very big like stepping stone in my playing career.
I missed that in the research. I didn't realize you were both club teammates with Danny Trejo and college teammates with Danny Trejo.
So I actually roomed with him too in college. So
amazing.
It was just perfect.
You need to be walking down to sporting director John Elia's office, being like, pick up the call to Birmingham, and see how we can get Danny to Las Vegas.
We'll see. Hopefully, we'll see.
Okay, before we jump into your time at CSUN, I have a rapid fire question segment for you that I haven't prepped you for before, okay? But you apparently answered some things for the CSUN website probably right when you got there.
Right.
Okay, and I'm gonna see if your answers still match, okay? Favorite soccer team?
Real Madrid.
Okay, that one matched. Favorite soccer player?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay, those were the two easy ones. Those one matched. Favorite basketball player?
LeBron James.
Oh, you said Chris Paul back then.
Yeah.
So
it was Chris
why
Paul,
has it changed?
Because LeBron is LeBron James. Like,
okay.
Ever since he got to LA, it was like LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron. Nah, I love LeBron. I'm gonna ride with him till he's done. Even when he's done, probably still continue.
Okay, this one's interesting for me. Favorite artist, like singer?
Singer, probably Drake.
Okay, still Drake. I wasn't sure if any of the controversy had swayed you off Drake. No, you're still standing
Drake.
Favorite comedian?
Comedian, probably Kevin Hart.
Okay, still Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart was hot at this time when you were in college. Like that was like the peak of Kevin Hart's stand-up comedy. Favorite movie?
Movie, shoot. Favorite movie.
And you would have answered this in 2019 probably. So maybe it's changed since then. Maybe you've seen a couple movies since then.
I don't know if I want to say what I like, because I don't want people to judge me. But
well, I'm going to say what you said in 2019, so people are going to judge you either way.
This past November I saw, what was it? The one with Ariana Grande.
Oh, Wicked.
Wicked.
Yeah, okay.
That movie was insane.
Okay.
Like, it was insane. That's probably like one of the top ones now.
Amazing. You said Jumanji back in 2019. So
the board game.
Yeah, the board game one.
That one's also good.
Okay, cool. And then favorite TV show?
I don't know if I watch TV.
Oh man. Maybe you were thinking the same thing back then, because in 2019 you just said SportsCenter. And I was like, what is going on?
Easy way out.
Yeah, exactly. And then I thought these were funny. The best advice you've ever been given?
Best advice I've ever been given? Maybe, what am I trying to say? What I said before?
What would you say now? What would you say now? And I'll tell you what 2019 college version of you told.
I think the best advice I've ever been given right now is probably, you never know who's watching. So like, no matter if it's on the field, off the field, you never know who's watching. Your life can change in an instant.
Yeah.
I try to be the best person I can on the field and off the field, just because, again, you never know who's watching. You never know what can change in your life, Yeah. So
that's very good advice.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what college you said? College you said, and I quote, "Keep your head up." That's it. that was apparently the best advice you heard as a 20-year-old.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
And then your greatest heroes.
My parents, for sure.
Yeah, you said your parents back then too.
Sure.
I figured you'd still say that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's dive in. That was fun. Let's dive in. So at the time, junior year and senior year, 2018 and 2019, you guys were 9-8-1 your first year, 8-8-3 the second year. So just battling right at that 500, trying to get through the first couple rounds of the Big West tourney, the conference you were in.
Yeah.
But you scored 5 goals, 4 assists in the first year, 8 goals, 3 assists in that second year. So you hit the ground running pretty well, especially for a team. I mean, you were playing for Fresno City and scoring 25 goals, but you guys were winning every single game you played. This is both a jump up in level and a team that isn't as dominant as that Fresno City was. What was that change in level like for you? Like, did you walk into training, or did you play the first game and go, whoa, this feels different, or did it feel the same to you?
I think it kind of felt just different because my role there was different. I was having to be more of like a back to goal 9, where I don't mind doing that now because obviously everything that I've experienced is I've kind of learned some ways to counter that and how to, I guess, work better on that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my role in at CSUN, kind of more back to goal. Whereas in Fresno City, I had more of like a kind of like a free role where like I can be a false 9, I can kind of be
drift
back
wide.
to 9, back to goal 9, a drift out wide.
Yeah.
I was just kind of free. But then going into season, it was kind of like more of a, I had to learn more, like, I guess, proper football, I guess.
Yeah, like the fundamentals of like being a 9, the hold-up play, the link-up play.
The dirty work. And then obviously at Fresno City, we were kind of ball dominant, so we had the ball more than we did not have the ball, so we didn't have to press as much, right? It's like you press a little bit, but then you get the ball back, and you get the ball back for like another 10 minutes, right? 5 minutes or so.
Right.
Whereas in CSUN, it was more like press, and then you get the ball, and you're just like, oh, I just did all that pressing, now I'm like tired, right?
Yeah.
But no, I think the coaching staff, helped me out a lot. They kind of taught me how to be a proper number 9, how to score the number 9 goals.
Yeah.
So I think the numbers kind of speak for themselves, where it's like, if I was there for more time, maybe the numbers continue to grow.
Absolutely.
So I mean, and again, I was playing with Danny Trejo, where he makes my life, easy. He attracts 1 or 2 players, then he slips me in, or vice versa, So I think we kind of complemented each other.
Absolutely.
Kind of well.
I mean, your senior year, 8 goals in 19 games is a goal every other game.
Right.
In the college game, the way that the college game is set up, where you're playing Wednesday, Saturday,
Exactly,
it's very tight.
Right.
That's a great return.
Right.
Like, for the Las Vegas Lights right now, if you scored 8 goals in 19 games, 18 games, it'd be a good return in this league.
Right.
So still think maybe you're a little hard
No,
on
yeah.
yourself.
I mean, I'm shooting for a number that hopefully I can come back and look at it like, oh yeah, I accomplished it.
Absolutely. Any standout memory from your time at CSUN?
Standout memories? Yeah, when we played UW, University of Washington, we played them at home, and they were coming in like ranked number 3 or 4 in the nation.
Okay.
So we're like, okay, this is a huge game, right? Huge game, unranked. They're ranked number 3. We don't have much to lose, right?
Yeah.
They beat us. They're supposed to beat us.
Right.
But at the time, we were undefeated, and they were undefeated. So we're like, okay, if we beat them, we can probably get ranked.
Yeah.
Something happened. I ended up scoring a brace. We ended up winning 3-1.
Amazing.
I was like, oh wow, this is the number 3 team in the country. This is huge, right? I mean, if they're number 3 in the country, why not? Why can't we be at least ranked, right?
Yeah.
Rankings come out. We're now 16, 15. I'm like, oh wow, this is amazing. So yeah, probably beating UW at home was probably one of my favorite things that happened.
That's amazing. And then while you're at CSUN, get some extra opportunities playing USL League 2 over the summers. So your first one was summer 2018. You played for Fresno FC's U23s.
Yeah.
Had 9 games, 2 goals there. Maybe your first dip into a little bit more of a professional setup when you get into that USL League 2 semi-amateur.
Right.
And then you played for Ventura County Fusion summer of 2019 after your senior year.
Yes.
11 games, 7 goals. What were those 2 experiences in USL League 2 like for your development as a striker?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Fresno, when I was playing, during my time at Fresno, it was something, again, new, I guess, obviously, playing at home is obviously, it can be a blessing or a curse, right? But no, I think my role at that Fresno team was kind of, again, different. I was kind of playing more out wide, more than I was playing at the 9. So I was having to, take players one-on-one, whip balls in, and occasionally I'd play the 9. towards the end of the season, they kind of started playing me more as a 9. But again, that was another stepping stone in my career. And then obviously going to Ventura the following year, played majority of the games, if not all the games, as a 9.
Yep.
And I think we had a good group. Again, we lost in the Western Conference final, I think is what it was called. We lost in the final, but again, great year. Scored a couple goals. Again, continuing to learn about the number 9 position and different ways to play it, different roles I can do to help, just to make, I guess, the life of my teammates easier.
Yep.
So no, I think those 2 years were a big help in my playing.
Okay, then let's move to your professional career. So what I'm curious about first, so you signed for Oakland Roots for the first time. They're still in NISA at the time. That was in September 2020. So my question is, what happened in the gap? So obviously you played for Ventura County in summer of 2019 after you graduate.
Right.
Then you've got fall of 2019. And then obviously the pandemic happens, and then you sign the next year for Oakland.
Right.
So what were you doing in that year in between?
Yeah, so after Ventura, I still had one more year of CSUN, so I played that fall of 2019.
Oh, okay, so you did play the fall.
So
okay.
I played the fall of 2019, and then after that, I wasn't eligible to enter the draft. So I was like, okay. No biggie, right?
Yeah.
There's still a lot of opportunities. So then that happened. I took and then obviously now it's the winter break, right? So now I'm thinking like, okay, I have one semester left, but I'm gonna go on trials with these USL teams.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then it didn't work out. So then I'm like, okay, now I gotta enroll in classes, right? I have one semester left. Let's just finish this up and then go on with my life. So I enroll in classes. Then COVID hits. I get sent home for what's going to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Then I'm home, and then it just says, okay, now it'll be completely online the rest of the year. Okay. I'm like, okay, now I'm going to be at home. Cool. Training, continuing to train. I'm thinking to myself, something will come up. Something has to come up. It's just the way it works, the way life works. Something will come up. I've been doing this for too long for this to kind of just be it.
Yeah.
So I'm taking classes and I'm training at home with the group of guys that obviously everybody came home because of COVID. So we had a really good group. It was deep group too. It was like maybe like consistently 15, 16 players that would go out.
Yeah.
So it's a good group that just kind of try to stay fit throughout the whole pandemic. And then I remember this so vividly. I was at the park and I get a call from what was the Fresno FC at the time. They were championship before, USL championship before, but then they folded. The coach calls me. It was an unknown number. I never answer unknown numbers, right? So I'm like, let me just pick this up. What the heck? What's it gonna change, right?
Yeah.
So I pick up. He's like, hey, Johnny, this is Adam. I'm like, oh, what's up, Adam? He was like, hey, how are you? Are you staying fit? I was like, I am. Why? Like, why do you ask? He's like, because Oakland is looking for some to going to Oakland. I was like, for sure, 100%. I mean, what do I got to lose? I mean, I don't care if it's NISA, I don't care what it is, right? I just want to continue playing.
Right.
So then 3 days later, I'm driving down to Oakland, take my COVID test, whatever. Now I'm eligible to finally, be on the pitch. So then I get on the field, and but at the time I'm just there on trial, right? So I'm just there on trial. I'm there for a full week. We play on Saturday. I score a goal. We win 2-1, I think. Now the first, or not the first team, but like the main roster team is gonna travel down to LA because at the time there was a fire going, like wildfires going on in the Bay. They're like, okay, let's go to preseason in LA. So then obviously my time there's up now, right? So now I'm driving back Saturday night home to Fresno, and the team is traveling on Sunday. I'm back at home. Monday comes about, I get a call. They're like, are you interested in coming back for another week? And I'm like, I mean, I was already there for a week. I scored on the weekend. Like,
what more do you need
what
to
more?
see?
Yeah, what more do I have to, prove to you that I can, at least be on the roster, right?
Right.
So then I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, like I have nothing else going on. I just graduated, right? Like, I was talking to my family, my friends. I was like, what should I do? They're like, well, whatever you think, we're gonna be right there to support you, whether you want to go or you don't want to go.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I call back to the sporting director. I'm gonna call him back, and I'm like, all right, like I'll go. So then I'm driving down to OC, and I finally get there. And I get there, I get to my room, settle in, whatever. And then the next morning we have a scrimmage. I play again, I score. I'm like, okay, like,
come on, guys.
Come on, like, I just got here, and like, I'm lucky now that I scored a goal, right, in another preseason game. So then that same evening, I get a call from what is now my agent. He called me. He was like, "Hey, you know, the sporting director and the coach want to talk to you." I said, "Okay, like, where are they?" They're like, "They're in the lobby." So then I go down. So I go down, and they're like, "Hey, Johnny, we want to offer you a contract." I was like, "Oh, finally, right?" They're like, "It's not gonna be much, but you know, it's NISA. It's just what it is." I said, "Okay, no worries. You know, no worries. I just want to get my foot in the door, right? That's all I can ask for."
Yeah.
They're like, "Okay." So then I end up signing there, and then that happens. The whole NISA season happens.
Yeah.
I was so lucky enough to like play, because Oakland at the time in NISA had a very good and a very deep roster, where I was playing behind Jack McInerney, which Jack McInerney is like a big, you know, U.S. soccer name.
Yeah.
So we have our little COVID tournament for NISA. I was lucky enough to start in the semifinal and the final, and I scored in both of those games. So I was like, okay, like, and then during all this is like the news is coming out that Oakland is making the jump to the championship.
So you're in like
so
at
I'm
the
like,
exact right time.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, like this is happening, maybe the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So then that happens, and then we have end of the year meetings. They're basically getting rid of a lot of guys, right?
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how many guys from that NISA team ended up making the jump to that first season's USL championship?
So the first season, they basically removed everybody. They only kept maybe like 4 of us.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, like, because they had told us, they're like, guys, if we're going to be honest with you guys, we're probably not going to keep maybe 1 or 2. We're like, oh, damn, like, okay, you know, this is not something you want to hear.
Yeah.
So we have end of the year meetings. I'm talking to a lot of the guys that already had their meetings before mine. I'm like, yo, how was it? Like, tell me. I need to know everything. That way I'm a little prepared. They're like, yeah, they basically told me, like, you know, that I won't be making the jump.
Right.
So I was
starting to look worse.
Yeah,
it's
just starting to look bad. I'm like, oh gosh, like, do I even want to go to the meeting now? It's like, okay, let me just go. So now my time's coming up. So then I go in, and they're like, yeah, we want you to come with us to the championship, but it's basically going to be like kind of like a tryout in a sense. So I was like, okay, like, you know, again, getting my foot in the door, that's fine. First preseason comes around, the first week of preseason comes around, and then again, it's just like 3-4 of us, right?
Yeah.
So then we're just training, and then before the season starts, they get rid of another one. So now it's just 3 of us. So now it's like 3 of us that we kind of know each other, and then a whole new group of like people that already played in the league, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of looking at us like, oh, look at these guys, you know, coming from NISA.
Little NISA guys.
Exactly. You know, some of the guys have been playing U.S. soccer for like a long time. So now it's just like, okay, like, we kind of just have to get, you know, used to these guys and kind of get, I mean, we're their teammates now, you know, they have to like respect us a little bit. So then we do the whole preseason. I was scheduled to start my first USL championship game away at Phoenix, which I was like super excited about. You know, I'm like, okay, all this happened. Now you're gonna start on the weekend. We travel down to Phoenix on a Thursday. We're there all Friday. We have a Friday training. I decide I want to do some crazy things, right? So then the ball's in the air. I want to do a bike. I do a bike. I end up tearing my whole shoulder, right?
No way.
So I'm like, great.
I could feel like the bad revelation coming in that
land.
story.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I land, and I'm just like, something feels a little off, because I look this way, and like something's pulling. I'm like, no. Please just like be a little knock. So I reach to my shoulder, and I feel it up. I'm like, no, there's no way this is happening. Not hours before my first game. And then the trainer comes, she's like, yeah, it doesn't look good. We got to go to the ER. So then we went to the ER. They're like, yeah, you're going to need, you know, immediate surgery. You're going to be out for like 4-6 months. I'm like, oh no. So then all that happens. I get surgery. I get back a little sooner than I'm supposed to, which is great. And then, I hit the ground, and then,
I mean, you still managed to get 20 appearances that year, 2 goals and 4 assists. Yeah. So that's still, I mean, you came back from surgery, got straight back into the team, got onto the score sheet. So, so running through the stats really quickly. 2021, 20 appearances, 2 goals. 2022, 25 appearances, 2 goals. Then 2023 and 2024, 12 goals, 12 goals.
Right.
So my question is, what happened between 2022 and 2023? Was there a certain point where you were like, felt like you'd found your feet, where you said, no, this is clicking now. Like I feel like I belong at this level.
Yeah. So the first year in the championship, I was kind of, again, my role again was changing, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm playing out wide again, because they had to sign like some 9s.
Okay.
So now I'm playing more out wide. So then the second year of my championship season comes, and now again we sign like a few number 9s. We get a 9 on loan. So now my role is kind of to be kind of the sub, right?
Yep.
So now I'm the sub, and basically just have to work with the times that I get.
Yep.
So I mean I only played maybe my second year in the USL Championship. I probably played like 198 minutes the whole season
across 25 appearances.
Right. So it was just like 5 minutes here, 7 minutes here. You know what I'm saying?
Tough.
So I was lucky enough to score 2 goals, which just with the time that I was given.
Yep.
And then that third year came, and then I mean going into preseason, I was kind of told like you're gonna be, we want you to be the guy. I said okay, cool. So then I kind of just, took a piece of every forward that I played with in the past. I kind of took something away from all of them, I, like what worked for him, what worked for this guy, what worked for this guy. And then I kind of just tried to implement it into my game, and then that year I started just scoring goals, and I was like, oh wow, like I know I can score goals, but like this feels very, very nice, right? To help my team win some games and make the playoffs and all that. So then, these past 2 seasons scoring 12 goals, obviously like the first year where I scored 12 goals, the following year I want more, right? Like, okay, if I did 12, I can do more. But it just happened to be that way, and I mean, obviously this year, hopefully a little bit more, to help us in whatever way that is.
Absolutely. That brings us to the present day pretty easily. Right. Goals for 2025? Score more than 12 goals then, I guess?
Score more than 15 goals.
Okay.
And obviously just help this team in whatever way that is, scoring goals, getting assists, doing the dirty work, whatever it is, just trying to help the team win some games, make the playoffs, make the finals again, because again, they were just in the finals. So hopefully, hopefully soccer kind of works its way back, and I played in a final, now we can play in another final and hopefully this time win.
Yep.
So whatever it takes, whatever the group needs out of me, I'm going to try to do. If that's scoring goals again, doing the dirty work, whatever it is.
Okay, we've now gone through your entire career, from childhood all the way through to where we are now at the Lights. Having had this conversation, reflecting on some of these experiences you've had throughout your soccer career, does anything stick out to you? Anything that you look at and go, man, that was crucial. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be the player I am today. Or maybe an overarching theme, or anything that pops to mind after a conversation like this.
I mean, I think there's a few things kind of, again, to this day, I still think that me getting denied into the changed my whole entire soccer career, because if I go there and I play 4 years at a Division II locally, whereas I play 2 years and I go to LA, which LA is a bigger market, right? Yep. More eyes in LA.
Playing D1,
playing Division
playing
I.
against number 2 ranked UW.
Exactly. So
those types of opportunities.
Just more eyes kind of in that market. So I think just at the time, obviously I was heartbroken. I was like, oh God, like I'm not getting into this Division II, now what, right? But now looking back at it, it's like God works in mysterious ways. And I trust in everything that He does, and any position that He puts me in. I know that I'm not alone. So, I mean, I think, I just think maybe that I guess thing in my life kind of just sticks out.
That one moment. I mean, I think that's like good advice for people to take away from a conversation like this too, is that sometimes it's very hard to see past what's happening to you right now.
Right.
And that doesn't make like that experience that you had any like less tough.
Right.
That's tough to have your plan A just go out the window.
Exactly.
And you're young, you're 17, 18 years old, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with your life.
Right.
But oftentimes, one opportunity going means 2 or 3 new opportunities come, and you have to be able to move to the next thing and be ready to take that new opportunity when it's in front of you.
Right.
So, all right.
I mean, kind of the same thing with Vegas. It's like it's sudden, it happened. I trust in everything that's happening. I like it here. I'm enjoying it. So.
Yeah, and initially it can feel really shocking, right? Like, oh my, I'm leaving. I've been here in Oakland for 5 years. I'm feeling comfortable. I've been the guy for 2 years. now there's all this uncertainty, but now you're here in a team that can compete for titles, and we'll see where the season takes us.
Right.
So, all right, that's as good a place to end as any. Johnny, thanks for taking the time in the Lights Lounge today. Next up, we'll see you all at Cashman Field this Saturday at 7:30. You see Johnny and the team take on Orange County SC in the team's 4th match of the season, the 3rd match at home. And then we'll be back here in the Lights Lounge next week to wrap it all up and look ahead to the next one. Thanks, everyone.